So, a quick reminder for those of you wondering what's going on here. Obviously, historical context, you don't need to worry about this, but for those of you watching this as it's uploading, I actually had this episode ready and done and recorded and watched weeks ago. I have no idea where that episode is. It's just gone. I've had so many issues keeping this stuff keeping track of all these episodes because I've been recording them so quickly. In addition to all the other work I do every day, that I'm just making mistakes and errors. That's why there's occasionally issues with misnamed episodes and episodes that are gone and episodes that aren't going live into the playlist and blah 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 blah. So. Had to rewatch this episode in order to refresh myself on it and be like, ugh. And I went back through it, and I gotta be honest, ironically, for an episode that I missed, I just don't have a lot to say about it. I mean, yes, it's an homage. Duh, we all know that. And obviously, they've got some of the same general story beats there. They've got some good character moments. I kind of like what they did with Hondo here, because Hondo manages to hit a very unique dynamic in several of his episodes in the Clone Wars. And it boils down to someone who is not a nice person, not a good person, but a nice person. Someone who is affable and charming and friendly, and still willing to shoot you if he feels like there's a reason to do so. It's just kind of a nice take on that type of character. We don't see that as often as that. Like, usually when there's someone who is a bad person, they're like, oh, what's her damn name? The bounty hunter lady that's with Boba, right? They're just, I like killing because it's fun. No, Hondo's perfectly affable. Hey, yeah, how are we doing? Everything going cool? Zap! Anyways, so I like that. I admit I am biased, Jim Cummings, but still. I do have a couple questions, though. So first of all, they've got these medical supply stations, which they're not defending. Now, okay, I get that you don't have enough forces to defend everywhere. I understand that. Why don't you have, like, roaming patrol ships or something to at least keep it partially defended? Or hope to catch it during a defense or something, anything? In fact, one of the ideas that's been posited in the past is, let's just make up numbers. Let's say you got 5 places to defend, and you have a fleet of, again, making up numbers, 10 ships total. So you have 2 ships at any node at any given point in time, or hell, maybe you don't even have 10 ships. Maybe you have 5 ships. You've got, let's say, 2 ships at a couple of nodes. Maybe 3 ships at a node and 2 ships at a node. And they patrol periodically through these. Like, my point being, there are ways to make this work, even if you don't have 10 ships to squat on every single medical base, right? And then they're like, oh my god, we've lost contact with this. Why don't we send Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin Skywalker in a tiny little scout craft in what is basically an exploratory mission. Now, I get they had to do the setup for the samurai thing. I get that. But it's a really illogical move. I get that the Jedi are not tactically adept. I'm with it. I understand. It's just still, I have to point it out because it's ridiculous. Now, I do like the idea of the Vulture droid pod. In fact, I wish we'd seen more of that because it's a great idea. I imagine those kind of things are only useful short to mid-term because they probably run out of fuel relatively quickly, or energy, or whatever you want to call it. We know that droids do have a finite energy resource and they have to recharge periodically, so I'm with that. But I'm not okay with hyperfuel. That's different. It's different. But I still like the idea because you could just set them up and it's just a pod, and if it detects any enemies, it deploys Vulture droids. Bam. It's basically, if you're played any RTS games or any like turn-based strategy games or anything like that, it's like setting up a tower, just one tower. It's not really there to defeat the enemy. It's more there to be an advanced warning system, or to slow them down, or to harass them, or to force them to commit forces to take it down. You know, like there's a lot of tactical options with something like that. And I think the Vulture droid pod is a great usage of a tower in space. Speaking of Hondo, sorry, I meant to mention this. Why doesn't Hondo take Obi-Wan's deal? Yeah, I know what he says. Oh my god, the Republic credits. We don't take Republic credits. Reference. But why doesn't he? You can't tell me the galaxy is in such a state right now that the Republic, which is burning through money, by the way, and their current economy and currency is not actually valued in places that Hondo can cycle through. Right? I mean, you can't tell me that. I don't believe it. This is not... That was thunder. For some reason, the last time there was thunder, people were like, was that the toilet? No. No, if the toilet, which is over there, flushed, first of all, there's a ghost in my house, but second of all, you wouldn't hear it. If it was a toilet upstairs, you really wouldn't hear it, because it's 2 stories up. Anyways, point being, what the hell? Like, You can't tell me that the Republic credits can't actually be used by something somewhere, especially given how much Hondo seems to hop from planet to planet to planet. Anyways, last thing I wanted to comment is the whole idea of training the villagers to take care of themselves. Now, I like that idea in theory because I tend to be in favor of long-term versus short-term. Admittedly, too much. It's actually a flaw of mine because sometimes I only need short-term and I tend to focus on the long-term, and that can be to my detriment. But I do like the idea of this because theoretically we have now ensured that these people will be better defended if anyone else comes after them in the future, and that makes sense. The downside is you've also technically had the possibility of making them more of a target, because now they can defend themselves, so people might be after them for revenge, or for the weapons, or for the skill, or whatever. In other words, if a bunch of pirates show up to steal their stuff, a bunch of pirates are going to show up to steal their stuff. If a bunch of pirates show up and are resisted, they're going to kill them all. You see the problem? So there's kind of a line there where you have to train them sufficiently to overcome the downsides there in order to make it worth it. But I still think it was the good move in general. I don't have much else to say. Sorry about the de-upload, whatever. I will see you guys next time.